My mother looked at me across the dinner table and said, "You'll never be as good as your sister." Everyone stopped eating. My father nodded. My sister smirked. But I stood up and said something that made the whole room go dead silent. "I'm Clara, and I'm 28 years old. For as long as I can remember, I've been the invisible daughter, the backup child, the one who worked 2 jobs just to keep her head above water while my parents showered my sister Lily with praise money and opportunities I could only dream of. I spent my nights as a hospital nurse, saving lives in the emergency room. My weekends tutoring kids just to pay off student loans that seemed to grow bigger every month. I never complained, never asked for help. I just watched from the sidelines as Lily got everything handed to her on a silver platter. If your family has ever made you feel invisible while lifting someone else up, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. I read every single comment because I know exactly how that crushing feeling of being overlooked tears you apart inside. It all started 3 months ago at what should have been just another family dinner. But this one was special. This one was all about celebrating Lily's big news. She'd landed a graphic design job at some trendy startup, and my parents had turned it into a full production. The dining room smelled like grilled salmon and expensive wine. Mother had cooked Lily's favorite meal from scratch. There were flowers on the table, good china, and candles flickering like this was some kind of holiday. I walked in straight from a 12-hour shift at the hospital, still wearing my scrubs, exhaustion weighing down every step. "Clara, you're late," Mother said without looking up. Her attention was glued to Lily, who was telling some story about her new office space and the free sparkling water in the break room. I sat down in the only empty chair, the one with the slightly wobbly leg that nobody else wanted. Lily was glowing, her hair perfectly styled, wearing a dress that probably cost more than I made in a week. Father was hanging on her every word like she was announcing a cure for cancer. And then my boss said, "I have real potential for the art director position." Lily continued waving her wine glass around. "He thinks I could be running campaigns within 6 months. That's incredible, sweetheart." Father beamed. This company really knows talent when they see it. I tried to jump into the conversation. "Speaking of work, I got a commendation today for helping save a patient who came in with a severe allergic reaction. The doctor said my quick thinking made the difference between life and death." Mother barely glanced at me. "That's nice, honey." Then she immediately turned back to Lily. "Tell us more about the office culture. It sounds so dynamic." Father leaned forward, completely ignoring what I just said. "Lily is really going places with this company. They have real growth potential, not like these dead-end healthcare jobs." That's when it happened. The moment that changed everything. Mother looked directly at me with this cold sneer I'd seen 1,000 times before. "Clara, you'll never be as good as your sister. Lily has ambition. She has drive. She's going somewhere in life." The words hit me like a physical blow. But what made it worse was watching Lily's reaction. She didn't defend me. She didn't look uncomfortable. She just smiled and took another sip of wine like Mother had just complimented the weather. As I sat there staring at the half-empty plate in front of me, something clicked. I'd been paying my parents' mortgage for 6 months. 6 months of $2,800 payments coming straight out of my bank account, while they gave Lily a $5,000 congratulations check for getting a job that paid less than what I made in a month. But that dinner was just the beginning. The real betrayals were still coming. 2 weeks later, I was scrolling through Instagram during my lunch break when I saw them. Pictures of Lily, my parents, and Lily's boyfriend on a beach in Florida. Palm trees, crystal blue water, expensive resort drinks with little umbrellas. They looked like they were having the time of their lives. I stared at my phone screen in disbelief. Nobody had mentioned a family vacation. Nobody had even hinted at it. I called Mother immediately. "Oh, Clara," she said when I asked about the trip. "We didn't think you could get time off work. You're always so busy with your shifts." "You didn't ask," I said, my voice cracking. "You never even asked if I wanted to go." "Well, it was kind of a last-minute thing. Lily needed to decompress after starting her new job. You understand?" I hung up and stared at more photos. My family building sandcastles. My family at expensive restaurants. My family having deep conversations on sunset walks without me. Lily's text came 3 hours later. "Sorry, thought you knew about Florida. You're always working anyway, so we figured you wouldn't want to come. Hope you're not mad." I wasn't mad. I was devastated. But the public humiliation came next. And that almost broke me completely. Lily's 26th birthday party was held at the most expensive restaurant in town. The kind of place where appetizers cost more than my grocery bill for a week. My parents had rented out the entire back room and invited 50 people to celebrate their successful daughter. I showed up after another long shift, still smelling faintly of hospital disinfectant, wearing the nicest dress I owned that still looked cheap next to everyone else's designer outfits. Mother gave a speech that made my stomach turn. "We're so proud of our Lily," she announced, raising her wine glass. "Hi. She's always shown such natural talent, such a bright future ahead of her. Some people are just born to succeed." The whole room clapped. Lily glowed under the attention like she was accepting an Academy Award. That's when Mrs. Lee, one of Mother's friends, turned to me. "And what do you do, Clara? I know Lily is in graphic design, but I've lost track of your career." Before I could answer, Father jumped in with a laugh that made my cheeks burn. "Oh, Clara is still figuring things out. She's working at the hospital, but Lily's the one with their real career. Lily is the one who's really making something of herself." I had just completed my nursing degree. I was working in the emergency room, literally holding people's lives in my hands every single day. I was making more money than Lily had ever seen in her life. But all Father could see was his successful daughter who posted pretty pictures on social media for a startup that might not exist in 2 years. Mother raised her glass again. "We're just so proud of our successful daughter," she said, looking directly at Lily while I sat 3 feet away. The room went quiet for a moment, and I felt 50 pairs of eyes on me. Some people looked confused, others looked embarrassed for me. But my parents just smiled and kept celebrating Lily like I was invisible. That night, I went home and cried until my eyes were swollen shut. But the worst betrayal was still coming. I discovered it by accident while helping Mother organize her bills. There, mixed in with utility statements and credit card payments, were documents that made my blood run cold. Lily's student loan statements, all marked paid in full. I grabbed the papers with shaking hands and started calculating. Lily had graduated with $45,000 in student debt. Every single payment had come from my parents' account, the same account I'd been depositing money into every month to help with the mortgage. I confronted Mother the next day. "You've been using my money to pay Lily's loans." Mother didn't even look ashamed. "Lily needs to focus on her career growth. She can't be weighed down by debt when she's building her future. You have a stable job. You can handle your own responsibilities, plus help the family. I've been working nights and weekends to pay off my own loans while you used my mortgage payments to clear Lily's debt. Clara, don't be selfish. Family helps family. Lily's success benefits all OFIS." That's when I realized the truth. I hadn't been helping with a mortgage. I'd been funding Lily's entire lifestyle while drowning in my own debt. She graduated free and clear while I worked myself to exhaustion just to keep up with payments. But what they didn't know was that I'd been documenting everything. Every bank transfer, every payment, every receipt. I kept detailed records for tax purposes, never imagining I'd need them as evidence of financial abuse. While they were celebrating Lily's $45,000 salary, they had no idea I was making $89,000 a year. They had no idea I'd been accepted into a nurse practitioner program that would bump my income to 6 figures. I'd been keeping quiet about something that would change everything. My colleague Sarah had been watching this whole situation unfold. She was the charge nurse on my floor, a woman in her 50s who didn't sugarcoat anything. One day during our break, she looked me straight in the eye and said what I needed to hear. "Clara, you're literally paying for your sister's life while they treat you like a failure. This isn't family support. This is financial abuse." Sarah helped me calculate the exact numbers. Over 2 years, I'd given my parents $47,000, not just for the mortgage, like I thought, but for Lily's loans, her car payment, even her credit card bills when she had a tough month. That's when things got interesting. Mother started dropping hints about Lily's engagement. Her boyfriend had proposed, and they were planning a big wedding, a wedding that would need family contributions. "Clara can handle the catering costs," Mother said casually during a phone call. "She doesn't have other expenses like Lily does. Lily needs to save for her dress and the honeymoon." I hung up and started printing documents, bank statements, payment records, loan calculations, everything I'd need to prove exactly how much I'd been supporting this family, while they treated me like the unsuccessful daughter. Then I did something that terrified me. I stopped making the mortgage payment. My phone exploded within a week. Panicked calls from Mother, angry texts from Father. Even Lily called suddenly, concerned about family finances for the first time in her life. Clara, what's going on with the mortgage? Mother demanded. The bank called saying the payment is late. I think we need to have a family meeting, I said calmly. Let's sit down for dinner and discuss everyone's financial contributions. They agreed immediately, probably thinking they could guilt me back into line. The dinner was set for Saturday night. Mother cooked another elaborate meal, probably thinking food would soften me up. Father opened a bottle of wine like we were celebrating something. Lily showed up with her engagement ring sparkling, ready to discuss wedding plans and my expected contribution. They had no idea what was coming. Father started the lecture before we'd even finished eating. Clara, we need to talk about responsibility, family obligations. You can't just stop supporting us because you're having some kind of emotional crisis. This family depends on your contributions, Mother added. Lily is building her future, and we all need to sacrifice to help her succeed. Lily nodded along, completely clueless about where her lifestyle was actually coming from. Clara, I know you're stressed about money, but we're family. We help each other. That's when Mother gave me that same cold sneer, that same dismissive look that had haunted me 4 years. And she said the exact same words that had started this whole confrontation. You'll never be as good as your sister. I stood up slowly, my hand steady for the first time in months. I looked Mother directly in the eye and said the words that made the room go dead silent, then asked her to pay your bills. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The only sound was the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder thick with documents. I spread them across the dinner table like I was dealing cards, each page landing with a soft thud that seemed to echo in the silence. I've paid $47,000 to this family over the past 2 years, I said, my voice steady and clear. Lily's student loans, your mortgage, her car payment, even her credit card bills when she overspent on clothes and vacations. Lily's face went white. She picked up one of the bank statements with trembling hands, staring at payment after payment with her name in the memo line. Monthly mortgage payments, $2,800. I continued pointing to each document. Lily's loan payments, $650 a month. Car payment contributions, $400 a month. Random emergency payments when Lily needed help. $8,200 total. Father was frantically flipping through the papers, his confident expression crumbling as he realized every payment was documented. Every lie exposed Lily. I turned to my sister, who was still staring at the evidence in shock. You had no idea I was paying your loans, did you? She shook her head, tears starting to form in her eyes. Clara, I thought Mother and Father were helping me. I didn't know the money was coming from you. Of course you didn't, I said, because they wanted you to think you were special, that you were successful, that you were better than me. I turned back to my parents, who were both trying to speak at once, scrambling to explain away 2 years of financial manipulation. You want to know the real difference between Lily and me? I asked, my voice getting stronger with every word. I've been supporting this entire family while Lily plays grown-up with a job that pays less than what I mock in 2 weeks. The silence that followed was deafening. My nursing income is $89,000 a year. I continued. Lily's startup salary is $45,000. But you spent 2 years telling everyone that she's the successful one while I'm still figuring things out. Lily was crying openly now, the weight of the truth hitting her like a physical blow. She'd been living off my money while looking down on me. Her entire lifestyle, her debt-free graduation, her financial freedom to focus on her career, all of it had been built on my work, my sacrifice, my paychecks. Clara, we can explain, Father started. But I held up my hand. No, I said firmly. You can't explain away 2 years of lies. You can't explain why you took my money to pay her bills while telling me I'd never be as good as her. You can't explain why you celebrated her success when it was funded by mine. I gathered up the documents and put them back in my folder. The mortgage payment stops now. Lily can be as good as she wants with her own money. I walked out that night and never went back to those family dinners. Within 2 weeks, I'd moved to another city and accepted a position as a nurse practitioner, making $120,000 a year. The hospital that hired me valued my experience, my dedication, and my skills. They treated me like the professional I'd always been, not like the failure my family had convinced themselves I was. My parents' house went into foreclosure within 6 months. Lily's relationship fell apart when the financial reality hit, and she couldn't maintain the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to. She called me crying, begging for help, but I was done being their safety net. For the first time in my life, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I finally understood that I never needed their approval. I needed my own respect. I needed to value myself the way I'd been hoping they would value me for years. I built a new life surrounded by colleagues who appreciated my contributions. People who saw my worth without needing proof or documentation or years of financial support. People who understood that success isn't about getting everything handed to you. It's about working for what you have and being proud of what you've accomplished. They lost me that day, and I never looked back. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is walking away from people who can't see your worth, no matter how much evidence you provide. If you've ever been the family member who gives everything while someone else gets all the credit, you're not alone. Drop a comment below and tell me your story. Where are you watching from? Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and your own self-worth? Your experiences matter, and I read every single comment. Hit that subscribe button if you want more stories about finding strength when family dynamics go wrong. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop paying for other people's dreams and start investing in your own. Clara's journey teaches us the importance of recognizing our own worth, even when those closest to us fail to see it. Her story highlights the courage it takes to break free from toxic family dynamics that diminish your value while elevating others. The key lesson is to prioritize self-respect over seeking approval from those who exploit your efforts. Clara's meticulous documentation of her financial contributions shows the power of evidence in confronting manipulation, reminding us to stay aware of how our resources are used. Her decision to stop enabling her family's unfair treatment underscores the necessity of setting boundaries even with loved ones. By walking away and building a new life, Clara proves that true success comes from valuing your own hard work and accomplishments, not from external validation. Her story encourages us to invest in ourselves, surround ourselves with people who appreciate our contributions, and have the strength to leave behind those who cannot see our worth. Sometimes the bravest act is choosing your own path, no matter how difficult, to reclaim your dignity and freedom.